Hello, I'm Seth Photopoulos, editor-in-chief of Forbidden Origins Comics, and today I want to talk about legacy sequels. For those of you who don't know, a legacy sequel is a type of soft reboot that takes place a lot later than the previous film, tends to introduce new characters, tends to rely on nostalgia for a lot of it. Essentially just a sequel that takes place like 10, 12, 20, 30, 40 years later. Now I want to focus on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and the Creed films from Rocky. Those of you who don't know, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, it seems like not a lot of you watched it, directed by James Mangold, director of Logan, one of the best superhero movies ever made. He's very well known for making dad movies. Logan is also a dad movie despite being a superhero film. A very good one. In it, they introduce this character, Phoebe Waller-Bridges, and it's kind of an attempt similar to what they did with Crystal Skull, where they introduce a new hero with the intent of like, hey, Harrison Ford is really fucking old and he's going to die within the next 10 years. We can't keep making movies, so here's another character. Now here's the thing, that movie's okay. I enjoyed it all right. But the major problem is I only know Phoebe Waller-Bridges' character by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I don't know the name of that character. She's not really the main character of the movie either. It's still Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones. The character definitely does not have a name like Indiana Jones. If you look at character silhouette, Harrison Ford has that iconic hat, has the whip. She doesn't really have any of that. If you look at a silhouette of her, it's just woman. There's not really a lot to work with. Now, I think one of the reasons that movie failed and why I don't know that character's name is because she's not the main character. Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, he's the main character. And legacy sequels, I think, tend to fail when they are so terrified of risks like that. Think about all the legacy sequels that work. You think about Creed. Creed is the main character of those movies. Rocky is a supporting character in two of them. He's not even in the third movie, which is also a great fucking movie. Creed 3 is fucking great. Then you have video games that do this really well. Yakuza, you have Ichiban taking over from Kiryu. In Devil May Cry, you have Nero taking over for Dante. It just makes a lot more sense if the main character is the new character you want to replace the old one with, because it gives you a lot more time to be attached to these characters. Creed, you don't start with a flashback of Rocky fighting Apollo Creed. You start with Creed, the kid, Adonis Creed. You start with him having a flashback fighting against other kids, and then it goes on to him in Mexico, like dipping down to Mexico from LA in order to fucking box. Then you don't really meet Rocky until 20, 30 minutes into the movie.
How you doing?
Again, Yakuza 7, you don't see Kiryu until like 70% through the game. Ichiban is the main character for the entirety of it. Then you have Devil May Cry. Again, Nero's the main character. You don't play as Dante until you get 60% of the way through Devil May Cry 4.
So I'll cut to the chase.
Similarly, like 40% of the way through Devil May Cry 5, you're playing as Nero and V, the new characters, because the old character is who you want. Everybody knows the old character. Everybody loves that old character. You want people to fall in love with the new character.
I'll make you fall in love with me, get caught up in me, be overseas.
Looking back at Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, there's a 20-minute flashback of young Indiana Jones. Why? There's even a flashback that happens later on of the girl character. Why not just have her? Why not just start the movie with her? Why not just have the movie be like 30 minutes of just her? She's going like, well, I have to meet this guy. And then everyone's like, oh, that's going to be fucking Indiana Jones. You get there, it's fucking Indiana Jones. Just do it like that. Instead, they're terrified of like letting go of the main character, the iconic main character, and so they cling on to him, and it doesn't even make sense. Dial of Destiny should have just been Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail. That's not what it's called. Hang on, give me a second. Last Crusade. Dial of Destiny should have been Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, but with Indiana Jones taking on the role of fucking Sean Connery, right? Indiana Jones should have been the grumpy old man that's not doing a ton of shit. Phoebe Waller-Bridges should have been in there doing all the Indiana Jones stuff so that you fall in love with her character. She even has like her own short round too, I think. And like that's hard to remember. That just came to me that she has a fucking short round. She has a fucking sidekick. Anyway, the first half of the movie should have been trying to fall in love with her and then going like, okay, if that didn't pull you in, here's Indiana Jones. passing the torch. That should have been the fucking movie. Instead, it's an old man being old, doing a bunch of stuff that a 20-year-old is doing. So you're looking at it going like, that doesn't make any sense. And then like this woman who is kind of fun, like just hanging out with him in the background. That's about it. And Creed does something that I noticed that video games tend to do too when they add like the legacy character. And that's you give them 2 movies with the previous main character as support, and then you let them alone in that third one, right? So we're seeing this with, again, Creed. Rocky is a supporting character in the first 2 movies. At the very end of Rocky 2, he gives that fist bump like, hey, it's your time now. And then Creed 3, it's just Creed. Devil May Cry 4, they started doing that thing where, again, Nero was the main character for most of it. He starts off the story. The story is about him. Dante's coming in giving him support. At the end, he's like, all right, I'll rely on you next time. Then Devil May Cry 5 comes around to close out Dante's story, similar to how Creed 2 closes out Rocky's story, given that a major trauma point for Rocky was Apollo Creed's death at the hands of Drago. The son of Creed is fighting the son of Drago in that movie, so that kind of rounds out Rocky's character. You saw that in Devil May Cry 5. Virgil comes back, which circles out Dante's character, because all the games have been just him fighting Virgil. He comes back, Nero helps him close that out. They move on to Hell. Supposedly next game would be more Nero focused. If they don't do a prequel, they might do a prequel, which would be pretty cool if you got to play as Sparta for a bit, because I want to see what the fuck Sparta's all about. And then they did the same thing with the Yakuza games, which are now Like a Dragon. Yakuza 7, Like a Dragon. Ichiban, main character, 70% of it. Kiryu comes in at the end. They're like, okay, you're pretty cool, but I'm a lot stronger than you because I'm like 1v5ing you guys. You're like, oh, okay, whatever. And then in Yakuza 8, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Kiryu comes back. He's like a deuteragonist with the main character Ichiban. Kiryu is rounding out his story, bringing Haruka back, bringing his grandson back to like kind of close out his character for the future. And I think that's the formula you have to go with when it comes to legacy sequels. You take the new main character and make them the new main character. You have them front and center, and then keep the old one around as maybe support, but you want people to fall in love with this new one.
Make you fall in love with me, get caught up in me, we overseas.
Fucking Beetlejuice understood this. The second Beetlejuice movie, I think it's kind of better than the first one. The main character isn't Lydia Dietz or the 2 ghosts from the first movie played by Adam Baldwin and Gina Carano. No, not Gina Carano. Holy shit, not Gina Carano. Gina Davis. The main character wasn't Lydia Dietz. It was her daughter, because you want to fall in love with the new characters. Star Wars episode 7 and 8, I think, did that pretty well. They focused primarily on the new characters. Like, yeah, the old characters had a lot to do with the politics of the world, but they were slowly phasing them out. Like, Han died in that first one.
Rest in peace.
Luke died in the second one.
Rest in peace.
And then episode 9 completely ruins the fucking thing. But that was kind of the formula they were going with, and I think narratively it really works. In fact, I want you to do me a favor and look up legacy sequels and look at which ones follow the Creed formula over the Indiana Jones formula, and how many of the ones that follow the Creed formula do a lot better. Tron Legacy, Beetlejuice, Scream, I think, Blade Runner 2049. They all follow that formula of like, put the new fucking main character up front, maybe have the supporting character be the old returning character. It's a crazy formula that I'm surprised not everybody has figured out. Anyway, I'm Seth Photopoulos, editor-in-chief of Forbidden Origins Comics. This was an OrigiNation Media video. We're doing a giveaway right now, so once we hit 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube, we will give away all 4 of our books that we have. The Old Universe, The Old Universe 2, Echoes of the Old Universe, and my book, These Lies End in Death, our very first comic, which did really well on release day. So pick those up, subscribe, and hey, you might even get some free books out of it. Bye.